Morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. This is the Global Hour at Global Chamber, our podcast where we talk about people who are changing the world. I'm not sure I know anybody in my universe that's changing the world as significantly as Sanjeev Khagram, the CEO of Thunderbird School of Global Management. Some of you know that Thunderbird was a lot of the inspiration for Global Chamber. I often mention that where the old headquarters was in Glendale, Arizona, there's got to be not a single place in the world that's less global than Glendale, Arizona. It just is not a very global place. There's nearly nothing. There is a bad German restaurant there, but other than that, it's just a bunch of neighborhoods, and it's very kind of USA. But when you crossed over that boundary into the campus and you interacted or walked in really any building, the people were so amazing, all from different parts of the world. And much more importantly, what a global mindset, a real life living example of people who are totally global, interacting with each other. And the feeling of that was really inspiring. I've never felt anything quite like it, honestly. And that got me thinking about a bunch of things, including why can't everybody feel that? That sensibility and have the ability to interact on in a global way. Now, Thunderbird has moved out of Glendale and they've moved into downtown Phoenix in a brand new building. And Sanjeev undoubtedly will be speaking about that today, along with other progress that he's made in his 3 years. He's been in place for 3 years, and it may or may not be true, I'm not sure, but one of the first things he did, maybe the first event he did in Phoenix 3+ years ago, was he heard about this group called the Global Chamber, and he thought it was interesting enough to spend some time there. So he came over into Phoenix, visited with us. There were a bunch of Thunderbird folks there. We actually have the picture of that day on our website in one of the main sliders that crosses over. There must have been about a dozen plus Thunderbird grads there, and Sanjeev for first time meeting with them. Again, it goes back to what the global tribe is all about and what T-Bird life is all about. Sanjeev is a world-renowned expert in global leadership, the international political economy, sustainable development, and the data revolution. He's worked extensively with global startups, corporations, governments, civil society groups, nonprofit organizations, cross-sectoral action networks, public-private partnerships, foundations, professional associations, and of course, universities worldwide, including Thunderbird, which is affiliated with Arizona State University. He holds a bachelor's degree in development studies and engineering, and he has a master's and doctorate in political economy, all from Stanford University. Sanjeev, can't thank you enough for all that you do. Thank you for taking the time today, and we look forward to a chat today and learning a little bit more about your 3+ years. You landed just about that time ago. What have you been able to do relative to what you thought you could do? You've been accomplishing so much.
So, dear Doug, my brother from the Global Chamber, we've got the dogs and the typical. So we'll hopefully get them down. First of all, I want to wish you a happy and healthy, and all of our incredible brothers and sisters in the Global Chamber, a happy, healthy 2022. It's a complex time for all of us, I know. And for us at Thunderbird, we have 3 principles. One is to ensure everybody's health, welfare, well-being, safety, physical, emotional, social, psychological. Number 2 is to deliver excellence in all that we do with precision and discipline. And number 3 is to pioneer innovation when others retreat. And we know that those are principles that are very much aligned with what you and everyone does at the Global Chamber. It's been an incredible 3.5 years, Doug. In my open comments, I'd probably just make a few of those. Thunderbird turned 75 just this past year, April 8th. And what I always say to our students in particular, but everyone, is that when you join Thunderbird, you obviously get a phenomenal degree program or executive education, non-degree program. You get a credible learning experience without questions. We're very proud of that. Number two, though, you're part of this historic institution, as you know, Doug. You talked about our, origins in Glendale, our history, that famous place where T-bird pilots came back from World War II, and they had that incredible idea that borders frequented by trade and diplomacy seldom meet soldiers. And we hold dear, that close to our hearts, as you know, to this day and for the next 75 years. So an institution. But the third, as you know, like the Global Chamber, and frankly, deeply interpenetrated with the Global Chamber, we're a big global family, Thunderbird. And we take care of one another. We believe in one another. We believe in digital global mindsets. We are always optimistic despite the challenges that are facing us, whether that's anti-globalism, which we've been all, pushing against for the last decade, if not longer, obviously the planet being in peril and climate change, and now COVID, right? In 3.5 years, I think I can sum it up in this way. And it's because of incredible team members, staff and faculty, incredible students, incredible alumni around the world, Doug, and incredible partners like the Global Chamber. 2013, you'll remember, Doug, and some of our Global Chamber colleagues, and certainly our T-birds remember, there was a famous article in Forbes that talked about the business school going out of business, and that was Thunderbird. I'm happy and proud to say that in about a month's time, we're going to have a new article coming out and again, apologies about the dogs. Nothing I can do right now. They'll slow down in a second. We're going to have another article coming out with Forbes. It's going to talk about the greatest turnaround in higher education history. The greatest turnaround in higher education history. And so Thunderbird is thriving again in every way. And let me just give 4 or 5 examples. Number one, we have grown more than 300% in the last 3.5 years. When I came in, we were $10 million in the hole, and now we're $35 million in the black. Number of students has grown, tripled. By next year, we'll have over 1,600, maybe more than that in terms of students. We have designed or transformed 10 new degree programs. And we're just launching in January 17th, the world's first ever global leadership program on space business policy. And then we have a brand new global headquarters in downtown Phoenix that you mentioned, the most digitally advanced in any part of the world. We have robots, we have AR, VR, XR, we have digital tables, we have a digital global forum, everything you could ever imagine. But it also has Thunderbird traditions, our flags to our pub. And we can't wait to welcome everybody to that at our grand opening on April 8th. Finally, we have done a global blitzscaling, and we have now 16 centers of excellence, very much in areas where Global Chamber is based, soon to be 25 to 30, and all of that will be connected to Global Chamber around the world. So it's an incredibly exciting time for us. And we see, just like our founders, Doug, that really basically shaped, as you know, Thunderbird shaped, along with other institutions, the last 75 years, but certainly the post-World War II sort of globalism, that this is our time to step up with incredible partners like the Global Chamber to do that again, despite all the challenges. So we are very bullish about the future. We believe that we can make a huge difference, and we're grateful to you and all of our friends at the Global Chamber for sticking with us through the dark times, and we're ready now to really do amazing things together going forward.
Thank you for bringing up the 2013 story, which I vaguely remember, but certainly more holistically, during those days, Thunderbird seemed to be quite the hot potato, in terms of people reacting, not wanting kind of the role. There were a series of interim heads of Thunderbird, and to your point around the financial challenges. And then along you come 3.5 years ago, and there's stability. There was a little bit of a controversy around the connection with Arizona State, which I think, for certainly the overwhelming response within our community is, wow, what a dynamic duo, what a great synergy with the school, especially given Arizona State's great progress on creating innovation. What, the 5 years in a row is the most innovative
7 years in a row.
7 years.
Now it's 7 years in a row. Amazing.
Really unbelievable, from a party school to one of the top universities. And in fact, I think the most number of students of any university in the United States. So it's just an impressive, Dr. Crow's done an amazing job. So he undoubtedly handpicked someone in his image who could create the strong foundation off of something that had really great potential. And you've done that with Thunderbird. When you walked in, you knew a lot of this, right? Are there certain things that you had in mind that you either wanted to change or kind of recover? And you know, how has that gone in your mind? Like when you think about like where you thought you'd be in 3.5 years, have you made more progress than you thought you would, or have there been some challenges as well?
Oh, there's definitely been challenges, but I have to say, Doug, you know me well enough now. We're friends and brothers. I'm an ambitious guy, and I believe that nothing is impossible. Just like the global chambers, you know, global and unstoppable. We believe the same thing, both individually and institutionally. But what we have achieved in the last 3.5 years now is mind-blowing, even to me. And, you know, over the holidays, had a great, you know, time to be able to reflect a little bit. And again, I just want to say that it's because of a phenomenal team, incredible faculty, incredible students, incredible alumni, incredible partners like the Global Chamber. Look, let me just say, we had a 3-part strategy. First was to recover and reclaim the very best of the past, Doug and friends. Thunderbird, you know, as you opened up, you know, the Thunderbird mystique, the global mindset, you know, languages that had been lost, but were, you know, the heart and soul of Thunderbird, the pub, you know, all of these regional nights, all of these are tripartite, you know, sort of framework, global business and management, international affairs, languages and cultures, all of that we had to bring back but on turbocharged, right? In a 21st century way, right? Number 2 then was to rebuild the foundations for success. That included everything from the human capacity that we needed to both, you know, re-energize, but also bring in. And we have, you know, we've grown from 80 staff to nearly 240 staff in 3.5 years, just to give you on the staff side, not even counting the faculty. We've doubled the size of the faculty. And so systems, you know, rebuilt our career management center. To give an example, when I came in, our internship rate, Doug, was 50%. Now it's 95%. You know, bringing our alumni together, you know, we all know Global Chamber folks, Thunderbird folks, many people around the world, we had our split in our community. We're unified and strong. So rebuilding the foundations for success. Give you a sense, for the first time in almost over a decade, when my first year, we got accredited again by AACSB, all of those things, data systems and so forth and so on. Finally, though, was reinventing ourselves for the 21st century. And as all you know, and all of our friends and partners in Global Chamber know, global is technological and digital is global now. And I came in and said, we have to be not only the most global leadership management business school in the world, but we have to be the most digital and technological. And those two are synergistic and in some sense synonymous. This was pre-pandemic, as you know. And so we were on that track, you know, our own digital transformation as industries and companies, as we know, societies are doing digital transformation in the 4th industrial revolution. We embrace that fully in everything that we do, from our programs to our faculty, to the design of our building, to our, you know, graduations we did in the middle of the pandemic, the digital graduations with holograms and avatar robots and everything. So we really evolved from global mindset, Doug, to digital global mindset. And the pandemic, as you know, and we all know, has only accelerated, deepened, broadened this transformation. AI, Internet of Things, blockchain, quantum, crypto, you know, one could go on, space technologies of all kinds. So we're really proud of that. And now, with all of our success, and I want to pay a particular tribute to our alumni who, you know, went through dark times, you know, their beloved institution and had failed them and was failing, if not failed. But we have come back, you know, greatest turnaround in higher education history, and the future is bright. Let me end with one last point, Doug, about ASU. You're absolutely right. ASU is one of the most remarkable, fantastic institutions in the world. But we had to figure out how we would fly in formation, as President Michael would say. And we've done that over the last 3.5 years. And what's exciting is now what you have is the combination of the #1 school for global management and leadership and business in the world, Thunderbird, and the #1 university for innovation. And nowhere in the world do you get that. Nowhere in the world. And that is truly global and unstoppable, because we can do, as you know, ASU, our charter is, we judge ourselves by who we include, not who we exclude. And innovation is right at the heart of that. So you think about global inclusion, innovation, and impact. Global innovation, inclusion, and impact. That's Thunderbird and ASU. That's ASU and Thunderbird. And we're ready to go.
I love it. And I think it goes to, why this collaboration works so well. And you've got so many other great collaborations with organizations that advance those really important topics, what the world really needs. You also touched on the issue of the anti-globalists, if you will, and the fact that globalization continues. This year, world trade may reach over $100 trillion for the very first time. Trade is moving. The world is continuing to grow, and there's nothing to stop it. No fear or lack of education will stop it. And you're the antithesis to all of that. And I know with a lot of the different initiatives, you're getting through the inclusion, you're reaching out and including more people into the process. So congratulations on that. I'd like to ask you about that and some things coming up. But first, I'd like to ask a little bit about how that new building is coming and how does that fit into kind of how all of this comes together.
The new global headquarters, Doug, is the physical manifestation of Thunderbird 4.0, as I call it. This model of reclaiming the very best of the past, rebuilding the foundation of success, and reinventing ourselves for the future. So when you walk into this new global headquarters, you walk into the fourth industrial revolution. A holographic robot that welcomes you in 130 different languages, a digital global forum where we can beam out to anywhere in the world and beam in from anywhere in the world. Touch tables and AR, VR language labs and everything that you could ever imagine. But as you go up the 5 wonderful floors, beautiful floors of this, most technologically advanced global headquarters that we have, you go back in Thunderbird and global history to our foundations. And so every 2 floors are connected by regional heritage lounges, Middle East and Africa, Asia, Latin America, all the way to our European gastro pub on the 5th floor penthouse. When you get, every floor has about 15 to 20 years of our history, with artifacts and photos and global history going back to 1946. And you get back to you go up to that top floor and you find, General Yunt, our founder's desk from 1946, where he signed the, agreement papers with the city of Glendale and with the Thunderbird Air Force Base. So it's such a beautiful place, and we're so excited not to be hosting, and we're the Global Chamber there, because we really, as think of the Global Chamber, as our sister organization in every way, and the Global Chamber's success is our success, and we hope likewise for the Global Chamber, Thunderbird success is the Global Chamber's success. So we're very excited about that. We have Phoenix Global Rising, which we've jointly launched together with Mayor Gallego and all the global organizations, the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, the Diplomatic Corps, GPEC, hosted in the building. So it's a spectacular, spectacular place. We're looking forward to welcoming everyone for our grand opening, global reunion and 75th anniversary, April 7th to 10th, the ribbon cutting on April 8th. So it's truly, but again, it's a physical manifestation of everything else that I've talked about. And, but there's nothing like being in a place with the touch and the feel and the smell and the experience. It brings it to life in a way, right? And so we can't wait to have the Global Chamber fully in there and have everybody join us in April, as we make our way off course through this pandemic, all of us together.
You're looking forward to that. I think it's the first week in April. Is that correct?
That's correct. April 7th to 10th, 2022, and the ribbon cutting on April 8th.
So you've got a busy year planned that I know with all of the progress that you've made, you're not standing still. There's more to come. I understand you've got some really big initiatives coming up. And in fact, we're planning to release this program on the day of kind of a big announcement for the school. And again, goes right to the heart of Thunderbird making an impact in the world. Could you tell us a little bit more about what you've got coming up?
Absolutely. I'm going to give you two great things. One that's already out, and I just want to share with our Global Chamber community, which I think they're going to be really excited about. We need your engagement, their engagement on. At COP26, Doug, we launched a global carbon removal partnership. And it was the most important thing in my view. I'm obviously biased, but that happened at COP26, which was otherwise, in my view, a failed COP. And the idea really is that we absolutely have to adapt to climate change. So climate adaptation is one key pillar of climate action. We absolutely have to decarbonize and mitigate. We have to do that, reduce our emissions. But as importantly, there is a third critical pillar called carbon removal. We have emitted, tons and tons and tons and tons of carbon into the atmosphere. And we have to think about that as global waste management. We have to suck that carbon out of the atmosphere and not only get to 1.5 degrees, but really focus on getting from 415 parts per million in the atmosphere to 350 or below, which is what the conditions under which humanity flourished. And so we have brought together companies, governments like the government of Kenya and Colombia, who have been incredible champions, the city of LA and other cities, organizations around the world to launch a global carbon removal partnership. Carbon removal includes natural means like reforestation and land regeneration and using our oceans and utilizing them more effectively and regenerating them, but also incredible new technologies from direct air capture to negative carbon building materials, negative carbon plastics, and even there's a great company, Jug, negative carbon poultry out there. It's just about to launch, and we can remove trillions, more than 1 trillion tons of carbon from the atmosphere, while actually creating trillions of dollars of revenue. Huge opportunities on the business front that can lead to sustainable and equitable prosperity worldwide, which is of course our vision, and I know you agree with. So we're very excited and about that, and we believe that COP27 in Egypt and COP28 in UAE will be the carbon removal COPs. Just want to say one last thing. It's those three pillars working in tandem: adaptation, mitigation, decarbonization, and carbon removal. And that's what helps us get to where we need to get to. Now, let me come back to the other big announcement through a very generous, incredibly generous gift from Francis and Dion Jaffe, our incredible T-Bird alums who have been just stalwarts for the school. They have made a gift of $25 million, Doug, to name that incredible new global headquarters that I was mentioning just a while ago. But perhaps even more importantly, and I know this is the case for Francis and Dion, they care exactly what I was saying before about inclusion, innovation, and impact at global scale. So we have designed together, and with the support of our incredible faculty, staff, team at Thunderbird and at ASU, a truly disruptive, transformative global digital initiative. It's the 100 Million Learners Global Initiative, supported and sponsored and really driven by the values and the commitments and the passion of Francis and Dion. We want to reach 100 million learners by 2030 with a 5-course global management and entrepreneurship certificate. Think about, the Global Chamber and Thunderbird encapsulated in a 5-course certificate, translated into 40 languages. Again, think about our commitment to languages and cultures. So it's fully accessible to 90% of the population, free of charge. And students, learners can get 21st century skill sets with a global mindset, with the ethical values that we hold so deep to ourselves. I do want to mention this again. We have these 3 principles, as you know, Doug, in our oath of honor. We oppose all forms of corruption and exploitation. We respect the rights and dignity of all people. We advance with all of our means sustainable and equitable prosperity and peace worldwide. So this 5-course certificate can if students complete it, which we will help them in every part of the world to do so, they get 15 credits. They can stack that then onto a master's, another 5 courses for $10,000. They get a full master's degree from the Thunderbird School for $10,000 anywhere in the world. And there'll be scholarships even for that part of it. And so really what we're doing is creating digital global leaders and managers, citizens for the 21st century. And we're proud and honored to be launching this on January 20th. Again, grateful, deeply grateful to Francis and Deanna Jaffe for their vision and their support and their commitment.
Amazing. Where can people go to find out more information?
Just come to the Thunderbird website. Very easy. Thunderbird School of Global Management. In fact, we have a brand new, on everything else we've done, we just launched a brand new, most beautiful, most 21st century website.
Of course.
So we're on all fronts, my friend, and of course we'll be we're asking, and I'm hoping, and I hope you'll agree, the Global Chamber is going to be one of our critical partners to get the word out, to get this out to lots and lots of learners and students around the world. We've been working with companies like Google and on the Translation Factory. And this is an unbelievable thing that we have developed and are developing with them. So companies, governments around the world, obviously great institutions like the Global Chamber. It's we're going to work with everyone to get this out, and we believe we can do it. 100 million learners, why not?
Amazing. Yeah,
global
absolutely.
and unstoppable. Global and unstoppable, Doug.
Absolutely. Totally there. And I've just got a couple more questions for you, and before we finish, I did want to kind of touch on your own personal life, your journey. You've spent, as we talked earlier, so much time in the Palo Alto area and your connections to Stanford. You've come to Phoenix as part of all of this and moved to Phoenix. You have a new wife, you have a child, you have at least 2 dogs, I counted.
Yeah,
so you've had some personal changes as well, haven't you?
It's been quite a time, Doug. We have 3 children. My incredible older son, Ram, who's a filmmaker, had his first film come out. We're very proud of him. Our 16-year-old Raul, who's in private school in Seattle. He's an amazing young man. And our 7-year-old daughter. Like all, we've experienced our share of difficulties during this pandemic. And my heart and our heart goes out to everyone. We've lost people, Doug, to COVID. In India in particular, and my father passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. My mother's dementia has advanced pretty significantly. You know me, and just for our audience who doesn't know me, I'm a refugee from Idi Amin's Uganda, 4th generation, I don't know, East African, Indian American, global, whatever you want to call me. So I've had a lot of reflection time, as I mentioned, over the holidays. What I'm most feel most blessed about is that with Thunderbird and great partners like the Global Chamber, a refugee kid like me feels at home. Really physically, I feel at home and not at home everywhere in the world, Doug. I'll always feel that sense of I'm a refugee. But when you have a community and a family like the Thunderbird family and the Global Chamber family around you, supporting you, you're supporting, and that means the world to me. And it's been an incredible blessing. Obviously, Diana Bowman, my wonderful, brilliant wife, who's the associate dean at the law school at ASU, I'm more than doubly blessed in that case. I guess where I would end in this piece is that, I had the great privilege, Doug, of being the dean of the Desmond Tutu Peace Centre and working with Archbishop Tutu, who, as you all know, and recently passed away. He had a glorious life, 90 years. Talk about a person that made the most of every single day. And as I wrote in my LinkedIn and other social media, no one in my life embodied grace more than Archbishop Tutu. The Dalai Lama equally so, and had a great privilege of working with Archbishop Tutu and the Dalai Lama and this great a couple of years where we did religious, cooperation and collaboration for peace and prosperity around the world. And his passing just obviously just on the one hand is of course heartbreaking for those who were touched by his grace. But on the other hand, because I knew him so well, all he was about, Doug, was what we're about, is making the world a better place every single day, and doing it with conviction and courage and compassion. And so if I could leave that with you and our incredible partners, friends, brothers and sisters around the world in the Global Chamber, it certainly gives me this incredible inspiration, sense of belief, sense of calling, duty, to continue on to do everything we can. So, it's the new year, the new Western year, at least Western New Year. And so it was a poignant sort of transition. And just to kind of put a pin on Archbishop Tutu, he asked, there was a funeral, which I wish I could have made too. I couldn't, but I know that he asked for his coffin to be the most simple, least expensive coffin.
I love that story.
In all, I know about it, in the country. And just, if that doesn't inspire one, then I don't know what could, right, Doug? What could? So
you again demonstrate how amazing you are, your capability, and certainly your deep passion and the grace that you have inside you. And undoubtedly, a lot of that has been rubbed off from the Archbishop. You're so fortunate, but also in a great position to be able to feel inspired by him and by others who have passed. You touched on that earlier, that we've lost so many, in the community. And I think, like you, I sense that many folks are using this time to reevaluate their lives and really understand what's important moving forward. And you've clearly articulated that you have a vision, you're acting on it, you're doing really great work, and we really are just honored to be working with you. Thank you, Sanjeev Khagram, for spending time with us today. Any final thoughts on anyone who's thinking maybe about Thunderbird and like, gee, this sounds like something for me? Anything you'd like to tell any students or anybody that's thinking about moving forward with Thunderbird?
Well, I think it's twofold. One is on the educational and learning side. We have the suite with ASU of lifelong learning opportunities, including obviously the core undergraduate and graduate programs, but in, modalities that, are complete and widespread. From, you could come into Phoenix or DC or LA or other campuses. One of the things I didn't even mention, Doug, we're launching an entire undergraduate campus in Hiroshima, Japan, which is in April. Super excited about that. And we see that at the first of many, many of those around the world. We're grateful to, it's actually us, full Thunderbird ASU degrees in Japan for students in Japan, but students who may want to be there as well. So I think the most important point is that come and check out our website, talk to our people, talk to our alumni, talk to our great partners, because chances are we have the program or programs or learning opportunities for you. But the other part of it, Doug, is that we are certainly, our core is education. That's who we are. But we're also about solutions. And whether it's the Global Carbon Removal Partnership, the 100 Million Learners Initiative, the Phoenix Global Rising Initiative, all of these things, we're going to continue to advance and co-create solutions with our great partners like the Global Chamber going forward. So, the future is bright. And if you want to, as I said, not just a great set of opportunities, but a historic institution like Thunderbird, most importantly, a global family, please, you're welcome to join. We'd be honored to have you.
We are inspired by you. Thank you very much. Sanjeev Khagram, who's the CEO, Director General, and Dean of Thunderbird School of Global Management. You can check out the website at thunderbird.asu.edu. Sanjeev, thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Doug. Thank you for your leadership.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Have a great day.